Welcome to the Bible Breakdown. It's a Black man and woman in America who no longer identify as believers. This show contains adult languages, themes, and isn't meant for children. As Black people, we respect the history of the Black church in America, but its current state is massively abusive, and we think the Bible might be part of the problem. Listen and let us know what you think. Peace. Okay, we're back for another episode of Bible Breakdown. Thanks for coming back. I'm Kat.
And I'm T. Welcome.
Yay. And as you can hear from T's excited tone, he's super excited to get into the word today, the good word. And today we are covering Genesis 34 from the New Revised Standard version of the Holy Bible. Last time on the Bible Breakdown, we covered Jacob and Esau meeting. Jacob had some more of his just tendencies. He just, for someone who has God backing him up, he does hedge his bets a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, great. You're great. Okay. Okay, so today we're going to actually...
Isn't somebody getting raped today?
Somebody is getting raped today. Well, got raped back then, rather. And we're gonna read the story today. We actually get to hear about
That's
his...
so fucked up to say.
Well, like I said before, this
but it's
is
not
really,
like actual rape or something like
it
that.
sounds to me like a property crime, because the way the Bible sort of sees rape, there's not a lot of context clues that the Bible sees women as autonomous people. So it's not like rape by their definition is a violation of consent. It really just means a woman had sex without the permission of her father.
Gotcha.
So they're more, women are seen as commodities and they're more valuable if no one's busted one up in you.
All right.
So super sweet. So it's a even numbered chapter, so I'm reading it.
Yay.
Okay, so Genesis 34, the rape of Dinah. Are we gonna say Dinah?
Sure.
Dinah, Leah. I think that.
All right, that's good.
If we're wrong, sue us. We don't have anything. Now, Dinah, the daughter of Leah, whom she had borne to Jacob, went out to visit the women of the region. When Shechem, son of Hamor, the Hivite, prince of the region, saw her, he seized her and lay with her by force. And his soul was drawn to Dinah, daughter of Jacob. He loved the girl and spoke tenderly to her. So Shechem spoke to his father Hamor, saying, "Get me this girl to be my wife." Now Jacob heard that Shechem had defiled his daughter Dinah, but his sons were with his cattle in the field, so Jacob held his peace until they came. And Hamor, the father of Shechem, went out to Jacob to speak with him, just as the sons of Jacob came in from the field. When they heard it, the men were indignant and very angry, because he had committed an outrage in Israel by lying with Jacob's daughter, for such a thing ought not to be done. But Hamor spoke with them, saying, "The heart of my son Shechem longs for your daughter. Please give her to him in marriage. Make marriages with us. Give your daughters to us, and take our daughters for yourselves. You shall live with us, and the land shall be open to you. Live and trade in it, and get property in it." Shechem also said to her father and to her brothers, "Let me find favor with you, and whatever you say to me I will give. Put the marriage present and gift as high as you like, and I will give whatever you ask of me. Only give me the girl to be my wife." The sons of Jacob answered Shechem and his father Hamor deceitfully, because he had defiled their sister Dinah. They said to them, "We cannot do this thing, to give our sister to one who is uncircumcised, for that would be a disgrace to us. Only on this condition will we consent to you, that you will become as we are, and every male among you be circumcised. Then we will give our daughters to you, and we will take your daughters for ourselves, and we will live among you and become one people. But if you will not listen to us and be circumcised, then we will take our daughter and be gone." Their words pleased Hamor and Hamor's son Shechem, and the young man did not delay to do the thing, because he was delighted with Jacob's daughter. Now, he was the most honored of all his family, so Hamor and his son Shechem came to the gate of their city and spoke to the men of their city, saying, "These people are friendly with us. Let them live in the land and trade in it, for the land is large enough for them. Let us take their daughters in marriage, and let us give them our daughters. Only on this condition will they agree to live among us, to become one people, that every male among us must be circumcised as they are circumcised. Will not their livestock, their property, and all their animals be ours? Only let us agree with them, and they will live among us." And all who went out of the city gate heeded Hamor and his son Shechem, and every male was circumcised, all who went out of the gate of his city. Dinah's brothers avenged their sister. On the third day, when they were still in pain, two of the sons of Jacob, Simon and Levi, Dinah's brothers, took their swords and came against the city unawares and killed all the males. They killed Hamor and his son Shechem with the sword and took Dinah out of Shechem's house and went away. And the other sons of Jacob came upon the slain and plundered the city because their sister had been defiled. They took their flocks and their herds and their donkeys and whatever was in the city and in the field, all their wealth, all their little ones and their wives, all that was in their houses they captured and made their prey. Then Jacob said to Simon and Levi, "You have brought trouble on me by making me odious to the inhabitants of the land, the Canaanites and the Perizzites. My numbers are few. If they gather themselves against me and attack me, I shall be destroyed, both I and my household." But they said, "Should our sister be treated like a whore?" The end. What a great story.
Oh, it's a lot of bitch assery.
It was. It was also, I don't know, man. I get the feeling it. Of course, the Bible is telling us that it was by force, but it's kind of weird. I don't know. Just usually the pathology of rape, it's not usually like, "Oh, that was a great rape. I want to marry her."
Wow. Were you waiting for me to comment on that?
Yes.
I don't have anything to say other than that was fucked up. Like
What
they
specifically was fucked up to
made a
you?
deal and then they basically reneged on that. So it's kind of fucked up.
Yeah, I think it was an
And
overreaction.
it was like, yeah, an overreaction. Like they went extreme with the reneging.
Yeah, because I could understand if, let's say, you wanted to kill the guy who raped your sister, but to kill all of his male relatives, that seems a little much.
Mhm.
And everybody, all the men who lived in the city, it just seemed a little. It felt like maybe they'd been wanting to do that, and this was just now their excuse.
And just so I'm interpreting this right. So basically, what's her name? Dina,
Dina.
whatever. She was to be with this person,
Shechem.
Shechem, and Jacob, or whatever. And so, but originally they weren't going to even do it because they weren't circumcised.
Right. Well, we noticed earlier in some of the stories that wherever either, Isaac or Jacob or anybody is, they don't want to marry the women. They always are like, "Hey, go back home and find one of my relatives for my sons to marry." So they don't, it seems generally they don't like the idea of marrying foreigners or people who aren't in their family. And so it sounds like this was just like all a setup. Like, "Okay, sure, we'll give her to you, but you have to, chop off the tip of your dick." And he's like, "Hey, anything for Dina,"
Okay,
which
cool.
once again,
All right, so that's the point I'm getting to. So they had them do all of this, and then they still fucking killed them. That's
mhm,
fucking shitter,
yeah.
and that's
Like,
fucking.
but
They're pieces of shit.
In Jacob's defense, though, it doesn't sound like he was necessarily down with it.
Yeah.
It was mostly, sounds like it was Simon and Levi who kind of were like, "Man, fuck this shit." They kind of have an incel. I don't know this for sure, but they have an incel-y kind of vibe to me.
Again, no. Wait, what is an incel?
An incel is an involuntarily celibate person.
Yeah, it's fucking stupid. Anyway, excuse me. Um, I was gonna say that
It's not stupid. They're just
it.
not hot enough to get laid. That's not their fault. Well, it probably is, but
Oh, you said involuntarily. Well, I mean, but they have resources. They have stuff. Like, I feel like life has not changed that much. Like, you have resources. Women will fuck you.
Yep. And once again, this was a time where you could just buy a woman
Yeah. See, so even better
whole
for them.
cloth.
Oh.
I don't know, man. It's
But yeah, that's where I was going with it. It seemed like a lot of bitch assery stuff. Like that's kind of fucked up. But I mean, whatever. The people that they killed, I'm sure they were a product of their time too, and probably weren't great people either. So I don't know.
I don't know, man. It seems like I mean, it doesn't mean you're a great guy, but it sounds like Shechem was like a prince, like he was like the favored prince. And he probably could have had anyone he wanted, but he was just super into Dina. And even after smashing, he was like, yeah, I still want to marry you, which is, you know,
Yeah.
in those days, that's really kind of saying something. And he spoke tenderly to, and I kind of feel bad for Dina too, because I would assume this dude was probably her first and he was probably murdered in front of her and she was dragged out of the house. Cause that's, it doesn't sound like she was like
Assuming
a
that this even actually happened, but whatever.
right, assuming once again, just within the canon of the story. Like, and of course we don't get to hear Dina say anything. This whole story is about her, but she has no lines. She's just kind of the rape device. And it's yeah, this was never a story like we talked about a lot in Sunday school or anything. I remember reading it in school just as like part of the Bible curriculum, but it was never discussed very earnestly. So
Yeah, there's no way you can protect this story. Like it's not really a good
the
feel
only
goody
people I feel
story.
sorry for are the city of the Hivites. I feel
Is
very
there even
sad.
a lesson in this? Like,
Um
don't trust your fiance's family. I don't know.
Maybe don't get circumcised because then you won't be able to fight off um looters. Because they looted the village too. Like they not only killed everybody, they also took all their stuff.
Yeah.
And and I can understand like if they really felt like their daughter and they're like, yeah, but what? Our sister should be treated like a whore. We should be able to kill people.
Again, this story, let's just call it what it is. The story holds for a book that is supposedly based on principles and living a good life. This ain't a story that honors that. So hey,
Yeah, I guess and once again, Jacob wasn't like, hey, that wasn't cool. He was just like, hey, now they're gonna come after me, you dipshit. Which is
well,
true, but it's still like he should have been like, hey, these people were willing to like become let us become one with their society and we screwed them hard. That's a really fucked up thing to do is like I'm gonna get you to cut off the tip of your dick and then murder you.
yeah, kind of shitty.
Yeah, I didn't like that at all. um but hey, um I can't say I'm disappointed but not shocked.
Okay. Moving on to Genesis 35. Jacob returns to Bethel. God said to Jacob, arise, go up to Bethel and settle there. Make an altar there to the God who appeared to you when you fled from your brother Esau. Excuse me. So Jacob said to his household and to all who were with him, put away the foreign gods that are among you and purify yourselves and change your clothes. Then come, let us go to Bethel, that I may take an altar there to the God who answered me in the day of my distress and has been with me wherever I've gone. So they gave to Jacob all the foreign gods that they had and the rings that were in their ears, and Jacob hid them under the oak that was near Shechem. So he hid it where they buried Shechem. Okay. As they journeyed, a terror from God fell upon the cities all around them, so that no one pursued them. Jacob came to Luz. 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 Jacob came to Luz, that is Bethel in parentheses, which is the land of Canaan. He had all the people who were with him, and there he built an altar and called the place El Bethel, because it was there that God had revealed himself to him when he fled from his brother. And Deborah, Rebekah's nurse, died, and she was buried under an oak below Bethel. So it was called Alon Bakuth. God appeared to Jacob and again when he came from Padan Aram, and he blessed him. God said to him, "Your name is Jacob. No longer shall you be called Jacob, but Israel shall be your name." So he was called Israel. God said to him, "I am God Almighty. Be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a company of your nations shall come from you, and kings shall spring from you. The land that I gave to Abraham and Isaac, I give to you, and I will give the land to your offspring after you." Then God went up from him at the place where he had spoken with him. Jacob set up a pillar in the place where he had spoken with him, a pillar of stone, and he poured out a drink offering on it and poured oil on it. So Jacob called the place where God had spoken with him Bethel.
Is this a repeat of a story from earlier? I feel like he's already been named Israel, right?
No, I think he was still Jacob, or maybe he was. I don't know, because a lot of this shit seems like it's just a bunch of repeating.
Fair. Sorry, continue.
The birth of Benjamin and the death of Rachel. Then they journeyed from Bethel when they were still some distance from Ephraim. Rachel was in childbirth and she had hard labor. When she was in her hard labor, the midwife said to her, "Do not be afraid, for now you will have another son." As her soul was departing, for she died, she named him Ben Oni, and his father called him Benjamin. So Rachel died, and she was buried in the way of Ephrath, that is Bethlehem, and Jacob set up a pillar as her grave. It is a pillar of Rachel's tomb, which is there to this day. Israel journeyed on and pitched his tent beyond the Tower of Eder. While Israel lived in the land, Reuben went and lay with Bilhah, his father's concubine. And Israel heard of it. Now the sons of Jacob were 12. The sons of Leah, Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun. The sons of Rachel, Joseph and Benjamin. The sons of Bilhah, Rachel's maid, Dan and Naphtali. The sons of Zilpah, Leah's maid, Gad and Asher. These were the sons of Jacob who were born to him in Paddan Aram. The death of Isaac. Jacob came to his father Isaac at Mamre, or Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron, where Abraham and Isaac had resided as aliens. Now the days of Isaac were 180 years, and Isaac breathed his last breath. He died and was gathered to his people, old and full of days, and his sons Esau and Jacob buried him.
Well, that was nice.
Was it?
I mean, to be able to see your son before you die and to, have your grandsons and your, two sons bury you, I think that's nice.
Sure.
I mean, it doesn't mean he was a good guy, but, there's worse ways to go out. You could have your dick cut off and have a bunch of guys kill you in your sleep.
Yeah, sure.
So, actually, I did go back in chapter 32 when Jacob wrestled with that alien or that
Angel.
What angel all night or God, whatever it was. He named him Israel there too.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And but then
so again, just a book full of repeating.
Yeah.
Repetition.
So, and then I guess Shechem was not only Dina's jump off, but also I guess the name of the land too.
Yeah, I caught that actually.
I just want to let the listeners know.
Yep.
So we don't get like corrections. Like we're gonna get a lot of stuff wrong. We got that right. So I mean, this was fun. Oh, man, who was that? Which one? They just glossed over that. That was just one little sentence. Reuben went and lay with Bilhah, his father's concubine.
Yeah.
Good for Bilhah, though. That was probably consensual. That was probably the first consensual sex she'd ever had.
Sure.
Even though that was her nephew. Oh, it's very Game of Thrones.
This,
Reuben would be her nephew, right?
yeah, sure.
Maybe
This is the,
unofficially. They're not there. They keep saying that Bilhah was late.
she was a
Bilhah was
maid.
Rachel's maid, which means her
Mhm.
slave, which means it might have been her half sister, very likely. Um, maybe not. That's just like Sally Hemings. That was uh Thomas Jefferson's wife. I can't remember her name, but that was her half sister. Huh?
I said, okay.
Yeah. I don't like slavery. Huh. Oh God. We have to do descendants. I don't like reading
Yeah,
these off. These are boring and dumb.
a lot.
It is. And it's a bunch of hard names to pronounce. Maybe I'll do a silly voice to make it fun. Are you did you have anything else you wanted to say?
No, no, I don't have anything to add. The more we read this book, the more I'm just the more cynical I become.
This isn't working on your heart and turning you towards the Lord?
No, kind of the opposite actually.
Oh my. Mm.
But I did find out that I do, I guess, believe in a version of God. It's just not it's not
It's
it's
not
not
a
this.
dude. It's not a dude who wants you to chop
No,
off
it's
the tip of
more,
your.
I think it was just be more of an entity. Like I think God can, if we want to go the route of who created the stars and space and all that, fine. And God may like live outside of time and space, but I don't believe it's this being that really gives a shit about you or that blesses you and highly favors you. No, it's just like something that created some shit that because it could. And that was it. And I don't know if that's worth praying to. I just
Well, I think for a lot of people, because you always like the phrase I use, Sky Daddy, where they see, God as basically a Zeus character in the clouds and stuff like that. Because once again, we're human beings. And even though we talk about like how humble our love for the Lord is, like men still turned God into themselves. And I think we were talking about this the other day about how, like, if there is a God, it really doesn't seem like it cares much about people.
not at all.
It seems like it would really, I was making the point, it's super into viruses because there's a lot of those, and beetles. There's like so many different types of beetles. Like seriously, like
Okay.
if we found out like God was a giant beetle and all this, like we were just like extraneous stuff to move beetles around, like yeah,
Oh,
or viruses, whatever it is. To me, that because obviously I can't say like, oh, there's no God. I don't know. But the God they're talking about in here who wants like a lot of animal sacrifices and foreskins, it's not anything that I can say that I've connected with or feels like a universal force for good.
yeah.
I think we have
And
to,
then
I think we just care about each other and that's it. I don't think the creator of
I'll
the universe thinks about us too much.
say this before and I'll say it again. It just seems like kind of being in an abusive relationship, like, or a manipulative one.
I think I
Like,
said that
I,
earlier this week. According to Christian dogma, I'm in a non-consensual sub-dom relationship with the creator of the universe.
yeah. And I don't think, I don't know. I just don't like when people are like, well, he did this because he's trying to test us. Like, test us for what? What?
Maybe you are.
Like, what? You're,
Maybe dyslexia.
you met, you made us. Like,
Yeah.
so it's again, as the comedian Bill Burr would put it, like,
This is your
you
fuck up.
know, if I'm, yeah, if I make, if I try to fix a car and I fuck up the car, like, I fucked it up. I didn't, like, I don't get mad at the car. I get mad, like, I don't know. I don't.
It's just like with my kids. Like if I was constantly testing them to see if they really loved me, I'd be like, girl, like relax. Like it'd be super weird.
I'd be
And it
way
comes
more
off as
into
insecure.
this. It absolutely does. And that has kind of been my biggest beef with the Christian God for a while. It just seems very insecure. Like, that you would need me to give you all my energy, all my time, revert everything back to you. Like, you're God. You did this supposedly. So like, what are you talking about? Why do you need praise? Why do you need, like, I don't know. It's really weird.
It's very disappointing.
Yeah.
And once again, to me, it's just I'm going to read Genesis 36 now.
All righty.
And we'll see if this doesn't get your faith to come around.
All righty.
It's terrible. I'm sorry, guys. But we've committed to reading the whole thing so no one can say it's out of context. So here goes. Esau's descendants. These are the descendants of Esau, that is Edom. Esau took his wives from the Canaanites. Ada, daughter of Elon the Hittite, Oholimbama, daughter of Anah, son of Zebon the Hivite, and Basemath, Ishmael's daughter, sister of Nebaioth. Ada bore Eliphaz to Esau. Basemath bore Ruel, and Oholimbah bore Jesus, Jalem, and Korah. These are the sons of Esau who were born to him in the land of Canaan. Then Esau took his wives, his sons, his daughters, and all the members of his household, his cattle, his livestock, and all the property he had acquired in the land of Canaan, and he moved to a land some distance from his brother Jacob. For their possessions were too great for them to live together, and the land where they were staying could not support them because of their livestock. So Esau settled in the hill country of Seir. Esau is Edom. I said that earlier. These are the descendants of Esau, ancestor of the Edomites in the hill country of Seir. These are the names of Esau's sons: Eliphaz, son of Ada, wife of Esau; Ruel, the son of Esau's wife Basemath. The sons of Eliphaz were Teman, Omar, Zepho, Gatam, Kenaz. Teman was a concubine of Eliphaz, Esau's son, and she bore Amalek to Eliphaz. These were the sons of Ada, Esau's wife. These were the sons of Ruel: Nalahath, Zerah, Shemath, and Mizah. These were the sons of Esau's wife, Basemath. These were the sons of Esau's wife, Oholimbama, daughter of Anah's son. Of Zibon, she bore to Esau, Jeshus, Jalem, and Korah. Thanks for making me say that again. Clans and kings of Edom. These are the clans of the sons of Esau, the sons of Eliphaz, the firstborn of Esau, the clans Teman, Omar, Zepho, Kenaz, Korah, Gatam, and Amalek. These are the clans of Eliphaz in the land of Edom. They are the sons of Ada. These are the sons of Esau's son Ruel, the clans Nala, Zerah, Shammah, and Mizah. These are the clans of Ruel in the land of Edom. They are the sons of Esau's wife, Basemath. These are the sons of Esau's wife, Oholimbama, the clans of Jeshus, Jalem, and Korah. These are the clans born of Esau's wife, Oholimbama, the daughter of Anah. These are the sons of Esau, that is Edom, and these are their clans. These are the sons of Seir, the Horite, the inhabitants of the land: Lothan, Shobal, Zibeth, Ahan, Dishon, Izer, and Dishan. These are the clans of the Horizzites, the sons of Shir in the land of Edom. The sons of Lothan were Hori and Heman, and Lothan's sister was Timnah. These are the sons of Shobai: Alvan, Menahath, Elba, Shepho, and Onam. These are the sons of Zibeon: Aha, and Ahan. And he is the Ahan who found the springs in the wilderness as he pasteurized the donkeys of his father Zebulun. Of course. These are the children of Ahan, Dishon, and Oholimbama, daughter of Anhan. These are the sons of Dishon: Hemdan, Eshban, Ithran, and Shurin. These are the sons of Ezer, Bilhan, Zavan, and Akan. These are the sons of Dishon, Uz, and Aram. These are the clans of the Horites, the clans of Lothan, Shibal, Zibon, Anhan, Dishon, Ezer, and Dishan. These are the clans of the Horites, clan by clan, in the land of Shur. These are the kings who reigned in the land of Edom before any king reigned over the Israelites. Bela, son of Behor, reigned in Edom. The name of the city belonging to Dinhaban. Bela died. Bela died, and Jobab, son of Zerah of Bora, succeeded him as king. Jobab died, and Husham of the land of the Temanites succeeded him as king. Husham died, and Hadad, son of Bedad, who defeated Midian in the country of Moab, succeeded him as king, the name of the city being Avith. Hadad died, and Samlah of Mashrekah succeeded him as king. Samlah died, and Shaul of Rehoboth on the Euphrates succeeded him as king. Shaul died, and Baal-Hanan, son of Akbor, succeeded him as king. Baal-Hanan, son of Akbor, died, and Hadar succeeded him as king, the name of his city being Paul. And his wife's name was Mehetabel, the daughter of Matred, daughter of Mizahab. These are the names of the clans of Esau according to their families and their localities by their names. The clans: Timnah, Alva, Jetheth, Ohimbama, Elha, Pinon, Kenaz, Tema, Mibzar, Magdiel, and Iram. These are the clans of Edom, that is Esau, the father of Edom, according to their settlements in the land that they held. Thanks be to God. So now do you believe? Now do you believe, you obstinate unbeliever?
Absolutely not. That was painful.
Why do they keep making me say those names over and over again?
They want to make sure you're following along.
I'm not. I lost complete track. Oh, the only one I really kind of remember is Olimbama, because it kind of sounds like Obama a little bit.
Okay.
And it also, I'm lightweight interested to hear. I don't think we get any stories as to what happened with them. I think generally I like Esau more than Jacob. Just from the canon of this story, like Jacob seems like more of a prick, and Esau, even though maybe a little dim, might have been a little, because he was so quick to forgive Jacob.
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, sure. He forgave him.
I mean, that shows character, I think, because he could have murdered him. He's got armies, and he was a little twerp who tricked him out of his birthright.
I'll be honest with you. I don't even know. There's no redeeming or characters that are charismatic in here so far. And this is very painful, but we're doing it for you listeners, and for also just myself, because I'm tired of people saying you never read the Bible, you won't get it until you do. Well, I'm doing it now, and it's still bullshit. So, hey.
Even more than I originally thought. Like, I knew it wasn't great, but now going back and like rereading it all in order and really taking my time with it, I'm like, these are not good examples for a moral life, in my opinion. And there's just way too much slavery and murder for me. But everybody do you.
I can do slavery and murder. It's the it's the other stuff, man. It's just the other stuff that's really like a problem or really an issue.
More than the slavery and murder?
Well, I mean, we live in America and other first world quote unquote countries, and like that's a big thing. Like we like to see action, shoot them up. I can do that. I just within good storytelling is what I'm saying. It's not even a good story.
Oh, you're talking about entertainment value.
Yeah, like I'm not entertained. Like this is like very
I don't know. I like the little
tenuous.
tea about what's his name? Was it Levi or Simon who slept with Bilhah? I want more information on that, man. I need to know, like, how did that come about? Because sleeping with your daughter or sleeping with your husband, your father's
not a good sign when like the thing that's like, I guess, a subplot is the highlight of your entire story.
Yeah. Well, I guess they just assumed the people who were recording this would only like our main character right now is Jacob. So we should just be following things from his point of view. But as you live and learn, everyone is just living from their point of view. Like my story is the first person my life is the first person narrative of my story. And and of course I always try to make excuses for myself when I mess up, but yeah, there's some stuff where you're just like, oh, I just got to take the L on that one. That wasn't cool. I wish it was, but it wasn't.
This has I don't know, maybe it was just actually no, it wasn't. We're almost done with Genesis. It's kind of sort of, not really.
Not really. Yeah, I
It's
feel
like
like, isn't it
50.
like
It's like 50.
50?
Yeah, it's
Something
like
like that.
50. We're on
Or
30.
yeah, exactly 50.
We just ended 36. So I don't know. Maybe Genesis, some seasons start off slow of things. Maybe when we get into Exodus.
Dude, I'm telling you, it gets weirder.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, at
I
least.
just the real mystery is just like who put all this stuff together and how did it come to be?
I
I
mean,
mean,
we
I know
have
how it
answers
came
for
to be
that.
this.
It was an oral tradition that originally got written down, and it was
Yeah. But okay, oral tradition as you're right. We already got the answer. It's like people just, they didn't know how the sun came up, so they created this sun god and shit like that. I don't
yeah.
know. I don't even know why I'm doing this to myself.
I mean, people. I understand why. It reminds me of even now when I learn about my ancestors, like my direct ancestors. Like, for instance, I really, really admire my grandfather, like my paternal grandfather. He's someone I really admire. He's an entrepreneur. I feel like that's probably why I'm an entrepreneur, because I saw his example of doing it. Not even like thinking about the fact that I'm observing him. It's just my experience. Like, I know people can run a business because I've seen him do it. And so, but like, for instance, and in a lot of ways he was a very incredible person, generous, hilarious. I get a lot of inspiration from him. And also he was a black man in, America. He's discriminated against in the army, at his jobs. Like, he went through a lot of stuff, but he also was like, he kept my grandmother from getting her driver's license. Like, he didn't want her driving. And it's like, that's not great. And maybe like for the people who are
Because if she
recording,
could drive, then other guys would holler at her and then he might lose her. I was literally
yeah.
just having a talk about this with somebody yesterday, but I won't let you finish. What?
Well, no, I was pretty much done. It's just one of those things when we look back on the past, and maybe the people who are recording these stories, they found inspiration and maybe feeling like there was a link to something bigger that promised them this amazing future. Because here's the other thing, like this God character keeps promising Abraham and Isaac and Jacob all this land and this greatness, and their descendants are going to be kings and stuff. But it's like, why not just give us some land now? And why do we always have to keep taking over somebody else's land that's already there? Like, it's not surprising that the people who colonize this country have that mindset of, well, if I have God on my side, screw everybody who's already here. This land is for me because I'm a chosen people. Whereas they were like, hey, we believe in the Great Spirit and we're all children of God. And it's like, I have a gun though, so fuck you. This is my God, my land now. So it all kind of, and once again we're observing this Palestine Israel thing stuff now, and it's based on this dumb shit where it's like, well, God, they make, because it's like a lot of churches are called Bethel and stuff, and it's
Yeah.
because like it's this
Yeah.
new, it's technically when, not technically, but it's one of the many instances apparently where God is telling Jacob, like, hey, I'm giving it to you. You're my guy. You always set stuff on fire for me. You get people to chop their, foreskin off. I love you, man. Like, this is gonna be you one day. Like, your descendants, it's gonna be amazing. And
God just sounds like a mob boss.
a little bit. I feel like there's a lot of spiritual extortion, especially in the church now, especially for those ties.
Like the description you just gave just made it seem like God is like some fucking mob boss or something.
Yeah. I think
Just getting
a lot
Jacob and
of
people to do all his dirty work.
yeah, I can't remember which like outspoken atheist was talking about how basically God is kind of like a mob boss where it's like, oh, that's a pretty nice soul you got there. Be ashamed if something happened to it. And it's like, oh God, yikes. It just once
Yeah.
again, and especially since I'm a parent, and like a lot of times, God, that's supposed to be like your father, like, figure or whatever. And it's like, I had a dad. It wasn't like this. Like it was far more loving, and there was less like mind games, and like feeling loved and secure isn't what how would I put it? It's not groveling and um I don't, and once again, it seems like God mostly just wants these people to burn animals for him.
Which is really weird,
It
but
is weird.
whatever.
Yeah. So,
Also, also, if I'm just being like super hypercritical,
please do.
why why if God, as we know in this context of the story, is real, why the fuck start them off in this time? Why not start them off with modernization and shit like cell phones and shit like that? Like it just doesn't to me make a lot of sense. Like I
As a
think
woman,
we
I've
could get
been
a
like,
lot.
hey, could you give us the secret to indoor plumbing? Because this period is terrible.
Yeah, like why not start them or like modern medicine? Like why have
Or
everybody
soap. There's no instructions here about soap.
like why have them go through? And again, this is not by my standard. This is by the standard that God is omniscient and omnipresent and all powerful and almighty, and it's just like he created the fucking universe and this, everything that we know supposedly. So then why start there? Like why not just give us everything then? And I don't know, but here
It's
we are.
obvious that you haven't let God come into your heart.
Okay. It's a lot of holes in the story. And I know there's super Christians out there that try to disprove and say things like, even Einstein recognized that there was a God or that things cannot happen without cause and effect, which fine, but that doesn't mean that he's the fucking person that wants to see you win. That is not what that means. That means
Well,
that
and just because a smart person, because we say Einstein because he was smart when it came to physics, but like Sir Isaac Newton was too, and he believed in fairies. So should we believe in fairies?
people
I
believe
also
in
have my own
angels.
pet theory too about like why Black people in America, and really like all over the globe, go super hard for Christianity. Do you want to hear my theory?
Is it because we've been wait. Is it because we've been fucking I don't, traumatized essentially and we need something to look forward to?
That's part of it, but the other, it is linked to trauma, and I think it's the racial trauma for being treated inferior to what we're calling white people, because for the longest time church was segregated. Like you
Mm.
had white, I mean it still kind of is now, but like it really was back in the day. And for maybe one day we'll take a look at how to make a Negro Christian, because for the longest time like Christianity wasn't even available to Black people, because the official position was that Black people don't have souls, which is why the Catholic Church, super down with the slave trade, by the way. Nothing would
Yeah.
have happened in Europe without the Catholic Church's say so. So for the longest time, it's not even something Black people had access to. But then they realized, like, oh, these have these slave rebellions. They keep killing the masters. It's like, let's just tell them that there's an afterlife, and that if they're good servants in this one, they get a beautiful heaven afterwards. And you can worship the same God as us, and you'll finally have a white man who loves you. And I think that is the thing that, especially since Black Americans, since we never acknowledge it, but we're not wholly African. Like a lot of us have a lot of European blood in us too. And we want that acknowledgement from like that white half of us. Whereas they completely deny like any Black person like came from this plantation system. Like
Yeah.
a lot of their fathers would have been these white men who completely if they don't reject them, do not treat them the same way they treat their white children. So I think for a lot of Black people, this is like our opportunity to finally be treated like it's the only way to get a white man to love us is Jesus.
But, so again, just looking for white acceptance, which
Yeah,
I'm not down with personally. I
I
don't
don't need it at all.
really need it.
Yeah,
Maybe as a
I'm
child.
not down with everyone thinks that because of how I talk, like I'd be really into respectability politics, but no, no, they can blow it out their ass.
Uh,
I don't need any kind of, I don't need them
because I
to.
don't know, it does very little, and you
And
don't need it.
I was it Dr. Coco Selassie on In Our Mother's Gardens. I love she has a great quote about how nobody needs to look to white people to be an exemplar of anything except insanity. So if you want to be the master insane person who loses all regard for humanity, look to them. But other than that, you don't really. She's like you don't. Nobody needs to take shit from white
Well,
people.
I think it's partly just because we look at it's like white is right, and I think like because I feel like that as a child,
Oh
um,
yeah,
like oh
I want the
like
white Barbie. The black one is
yeah
obviously inferior.
all the stuff I saw on TV, I was like, oh man, I want to be a white boy,
Hmm.
and then like the older I got, I was just like, no, like being black is kind of lit,
I like it.
it's kind
I
of
don't need as
cool.
high SPF. But the whole point of it is like, and I'm not just black though. Like that's the thing. It'd be cool if I was, but I'm not. Like there is that part of me that and once again, that's part of why reparations matters. Like we were cut out of a lot of inheritances generationally, even though our a lot of
Mm,
times like our one of our parents probably was quote unquote white, but you're not acknowledged because
mm.
you're just automatically seen as inferior. So
No,
like
we
what?
definitely should get reparations.
Yeah.
I think that should be like the next thing.
But you see how now these you see how these people are acting up now because they're like, we can't teach about racism in schools. It's like we're gonna teach the children to hate America. And it's like, calm down. Like it's education. And it's like you're
No,
telling on yourself. If you're saying that learning about the history of race in America is gonna make kids hate America, that's more of an indictment on
and
you. Like,
I totally disagree with that. Like we being from America, or at least growing up, living here, being born here, it's just like, yeah, America's racist as fuck, but like there's places that are equally or probably more or probably worse when it comes to race issues. So like, I don't know, but what I'm trying to say is, I just think that America is a very unique place and is a very like it's one of the reasons we I don't want to say because I don't think we're the best country, but there's a reason why people have that mentality, and it
you know what
comes.
makes America like kind of better than a lot of other places is the fact that we have a separation between church and state that Christians are trying to erode, but that is what keeps us like more stable than a lot of countries on the planet because a lot of countries let their religion run their government and religion's dumb. So it's not usually very rational. And it's usually, like, once again, like we're seeing in here, it's usually very sexist. It's very easy to otherize people, which is what racism is. So, like, when they're able to, we'll get into it, like, there's a lot of annihilating people. Like, this won't be the first time where we see, like, people just kill all the men in a village and take the women and children as their, plunder and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's not the best. So, I let me just say that I do think that America is can be a great country if everybody can be Americans. Like black
Yeah.
people, women, we've only been citizens very recently. Like throughout the history of this country, we haven't been considered citizens. So being able to read, being able to vote, like that helps a lot. And the fact that even though they do make laws that favor Christianity, they shouldn't be able, like, it's called the Establishment Clause. Everybody look it up. It is what draws, that's where that frame, that it doesn't say separation between church and state, but that is what they're describing, the fact that Congress can't make a law that makes something our official religion.
Although, if you're a Muslim, good luck becoming president.
Oh yeah, good luck with that. But we do have representatives in Congress who are Muslim, as we
No,
should,
for
because
sure.
we have a Muslim
For
population. Like any
sure. But I
population,
would
we
say this. I would say that's true. But being that the president is the figurehead and the person that most people know, they're gonna be more likely to vote or not vote for that person versus like Congress. Nobody knows who's all on Congress. Like,
oh heck no, like you can get all kind of loonies in in the House of Representatives
yeah.
for
So like,
sure.
it's just,
Not to say that that's what I mean, but that's the whole point of it. Representative democracy. Basically, if you're paying taxes, you deserve representation.
yeah, I believe that.
Definitely. And so I don't know, man. It's true because that's why I was saying like I didn't think Bernie Sanders could really become president because he's Jewish, and no matter what people say, there's still a ton of anti-Semitism. Like there will be, yeah, and I don't think that's cool. Like I would love to vote for Bernie Sanders for president, but I knew that wasn't like he
Is
wasn't
this
a viable candidate.
anti-Semitism? Is this coming from like, I don't even know. Like, I'm not gonna say I don't know what that is, but where is this even coming from?
Anti-Semitism?
Yeah.
Oh, I can tell you that too. It's because white, like what we're calling white people, like what the Catholic Church did, or really the Roman Empire, which became the Catholic Church. They ripped off Judaism because throughout history, Jews have been persecuted. So the Jews living in Rome were subjugated. Um, and then Christianity comes along, which is just an offshoot of Judaism. And so, whenever you rip somebody off or appropriate something, you want to get rid of the source so that you look like the source. So, I think it all comes from that deep seated sort of knowledge that they ripped off the Jewish people. Like,
I
that's why,
never
because
understood
so many
that.
people, like, there was some comedian, he was talking to some guy and he was like, well, Jesus was Jewish. And he was like, no, he wasn't. And it's like, you stupid bitch. Yes, he was. Like, he they were calling him rabbi. Yeah, he was very much a Jewish man.
I don't. I just never understood the concept of like ripping somebody else off and then trying to get rid of them. Like,
You mean appropriation? I don't know. It seems to be a very popular
I
thing to
don't.
do. Maybe you should
Just
try it. You
like,
might like it.
no. It just seems like if I like something and I want to use it, I'm gonna use it. And when people ask me, "Hey, where'd you get that?" I'll just say I got it from this person. I don't understand. Like that seems like the easiest thing in the world to me. But I think the concept in some people's mind is like, oh well, I won't be as great if I give somebody else credit. But it's like, no, that's not it. It's you can still be great. And just because the other person did it first doesn't mean they did it right. So I just don't. I
Well,
don't
that's
know.
how art and culture work, though. Everything has to build on top of each other. And because, like, religion is just another aspect of culture, it's not shocking. Like, even Judaism borrowed from, all the different civilizations that they encountered and religions. And that's why a lot of times, like, the Noah's Ark story, that's from, like, some earlier tradition and all this other stuff. So, everybody just start
And people
citing
are
your
stupid.
sources.
People are fucking stupid. They just
Well,
think
yeah.
the Bible is the one and only book. And there's a person in my life that I argue with this heavily about. And I'm like, you do know that like this stuff is just derived from other things. And like,
But once again, this is still that, but the part of that is slave trauma where you're just like, but this is what saved us from the plantation. Like, and yeah, this did give people hope,
do you think
but
it's
it,
well? Okay, so break that down more, because I think, yeah, partly it's slave trauma, but I think it's also just identity crisis. Because if you strip
well,
that, it challenges people when you say,
well,
"I
part
don't
of
believe
slavery
in."
was stripping us of our identity.
Right. So yeah. So what I'm saying though is like when you challenge people in the modern era and say, "I do not believe this exactly how you believe," then they look at you funny. And then when you go to explain and or challenge and or question what it is they believe, it's like it's so hard for them to give it up, because it's just like, well, if I give this up, then I have nothing. Like, if God is not real, then what's to stop me from killing? And it's just like, you dumb shit.
Right. It's like, did you really want to do that before? Is that like, I mean, seriously, if like believing in God is keeping you from murdering people, keep believing, please. Like, if that's all that's holding you back,
And for
yikes.
some people though, it's not though. Like,
Ugh.
there's people who I mean, there's definitely plenty of people who believe in God or stuff and still do shitty things. So like to
I
me, that's
know
just a
you would
cop
think the
out.
jails would be filled with atheists, but they're very, very religious people.
Yeah, to me, it's just a cop out. It's just a cop out. Just
It's
don't do that.
hard, and also it's tied to money. I've been wanting to do more studies on sort of the psychology around money, because I know this from like scams and cons. Like people, for one, they want to get you all worked up and scared first. But here's the other thing: once people start giving you money, it's so easy. You know that phrase, like you're throwing good money after bad, and it's like the sunk
No,
cost fallacy. Like I've already spent money on this, so if I just keep spending money on it, it'll finally pay off. So,
no,
and
that's
people view things as more valuable if they spend money on it. So you people spend like thousands of dollars like in tithes and offerings. And
when you say
so
shit like this, I just feel like am I the only smart human being to exist? Because if I spend money
yeah,
with
it's
you
just you.
and I don't get the product that I was promised, the only thing that's stopping me from breaking your legs is that I'll go to jail. So like, but I know that I'm just gonna stop giving you money.
But for
Like
some people,
that's
they are getting something from it. For one, they're getting a tax write off. That's not nothing.
that's fair. That's fair. But for the other people, I don't feel like we have this argument all the time. And I just wish it was just easier for people to just concede that, like, okay, this might be bullshit, but it helps me live my life and I feel better about it. It's like if I go to therapy or if I go to a yoga instructor or whatever the fuck, it's just like, no, this helps me more productive, I think, in my life. So I don't have a problem spending money on it. But people won't say that. They say, no, well, if you don't believe in God, you're not truly a believer, or you need to be saved, or all this other fucking run
And you're
around
going to
spin
hell.
spin bullshit. I don't give a fuck. And I'll see, like, because as I told my sister before, like when she told me I was going to hell, I said, well, I might be going to Christian hell, but I'll be like in Muslim heaven or some shit. Because it's all like, I mean, what do you say to the other person who's like in a whole different religion? Like, oh, well, you don't believe what I'm believing, so
Well,
you're
and
going to hell.
also point to me in the Bible where it says like people are going to hell. Like that is something, it's to me, it seems like it's
Oh, is that
something
not
that
a real thing? I haven't
so
even
a
got there
lot of
yet.
these like the hell construct is something that is kind of taken from like Greek, Roman, like the Hades.
No, no,
Like
no, 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 no. Is there term a specific phrase in the Bible that said if you do X, Y, and Z, you will be punished forever in this place that is called hell? Is that in the
so
Bible?
it's not until the New Testament. So to me, that was always sort of a clue that this might be some bullshit. Cause I'm like, hell, that's pretty high stakes. Like, why isn't that mentioned sooner? Like, if there is a hell, if God made a hell, why isn't he warning us against that? Because that's the other thing too. In Judaism, there is
Where
no
was he
hell.
sending all these other people for
Well,
the
there's not
past?
this idea of in
uh,
like in Christianity, you get a hell, but in Judaism, there's not an afterlife. There's no heaven or hell. And
oh, so what
so,
happens in Judaism? You just die?
yes, that's why you have to
Oh,
have a
that
bunch of
seems like the
sons.
right religion.
I mean, but you got to
I
cut.
mean, I'm joking, but I'm
Right.
just saying,
But
like
once again,
that.
it's been around longer, so it's had more time to evolve. So it's just a little more sensible as well. So,
How much longer are we talking? Like a couple hundred years longer, or
I feel like Judaism, kind of as we know it now, or like not modern Judaism, but even this sort of form of Judaism as a practice, I feel like it was around for a couple of millennia before Christ came around.
yeah, okay.
So I don't know. It would be fine if if
How long
religion
have
was
people been
really.
around? I thought people have only, as we know, have only been around for like what, a few thousand years.
It depends on how you define
Like
people because we evolved. So there's enough evidence that there are like
it's no more
maybe
than 10, right? No, it's no more than
no,
ten
like maybe
thousand.
100,000.
We've 100,000 years.
Yeah,
Shit.
yeah. There's enough, but it also depends on which archaeologists, socioanthropologists you talk to. Like, there's not a hard
I
number.
mean, it doesn't have to be English speech as
Oh
you and I
no,
are
English
doing.
isn't that
No,
old.
no, 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 no. I know that. That's not where I'm going with this. I'm saying it doesn't have to be like a language in the sense of where I'm. saying you and me are doing right now, but I'm just asking, like, I'm defining humans as we were able to communicate effectively. Like we weren't, so
I will have to look that up. Maybe maybe I can put that in the show
this
notes.
is better than anything we just read today, by the way.
This conversation. Yeah, this wasn't yeah, people like if religion really was just a private spiritual practice, I wouldn't have as many issues with it. But because people want to push their religious beliefs on everybody else, which is you can't have abortions, you can't have birth control, um, Israel should be able to do whatever the fuck they want. Like, and once again, it's because of these people, like these stories that people really want to assign a lot of value to, whereas this should just be sort of viewed in the way that we read like maybe Arabian Nights, which is literature and should be studied. Oh, you know what's really funny though? I did read Arabian Nights years ago, and of course it's a translation, so there's translation notes at the bottom. And I don't know if you know, like it's a anthology of different stories, but it's told because one of the main characters, Scheherazade, is trying to save her life and the life of like all the women in her town by keeping the whoever the king or like Shah, whatever at the time, from murdering everybody. So she's just telling all these different stories. But the Englishman who translated it, because part of the story is the king of this like place, like he finds out his wife is cheating on him with a black guy, so he kills all the black guy and his friends and his wife and her friends. And so his thing was like, every night I'm gonna marry a new woman and then kill her by the next night so that she can't cheat on me. And so Scheherazade, her father was like the royal advisor, and she was like, let me marry him. And he's like, fuck no, I love you. And she's like, no, trust me, I'm going to put a stop to this. And so she's like, okay, even since this is my last night on earth, I want my sister to be here because I tell her a bedtime story every night. And the king's like, okay, fine, sure, whatever. And so she starts telling her these stories, but she doesn't tell her the end. And so the king is like, oh, well, I won't kill you because I want to hear the end of that story. So that's how it keeps going on. But what was funny to me was in the translation notes, the British guy who was commenting on the original wife who was sleeping with the black dude, about how everyone knows that black men are more like animals than men, which is why their parts are so big, and that debauched women are known to want to sleep with basically African or black men because of the size of their parts. I always thought that was fun.
Oh, okay.
Fun note.
So sounds like the point of
we should be reading like Arabian Nights, basically. Is what.
That's not what I was going to say. I was just saying, like, sounds like history hasn't changed all too much. Women are still insecure, and they will go to the extreme to make sure that they can control women.
Yeah, control women, and they are mad about those black dicks.
All right.
Yep. So we can leave on that note. Oh wait, we got to do next week though. Coming up in the Bible, Joseph. Oh yay, Joseph in the people are pretty familiar because he had a musical, Jeffrey, in the Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Why are all the stories like, I feel like I've recognized a lot of this stuff and I'm like, damn, everything's happening in Genesis. So like, what is the rest of the Bible about?
So boring. Tabernacle design.
What the hell is that?
Like, there's a ton of instructions on how like God wanted the temple built, like the place where they keep the Ark of the Covenant. Like, there's a lot of instruction on how he wants that laid out, and a lot of the
so there's like a blueprint in here.
Not exactly, but it's not an exact it's a verbal blueprint. Yeah, right. And there's all the laws about, how to kill gay people, how to sell slaves, how to tell if your wife is cheating on you.
This is a terrible book.
It's not great.
This is a very terrible book.
It's not great. We'll get into all that. But
feeling like everything that was ever taught in high school was all from Genesis, because I'm like, dude.
There's not a ton of narrative stuff in the other stuff. But yeah, we need to go though, because we're getting over an hour and it makes it hard to render.
All right.
Peace out.
Peace.
Bye. Thanks. Cool. Okay, I'm gonna stop recording.